Okay, so this is the second part of this interview with this gentleman on the video Iwo Jima. 36 Days of Hell, the true story. And he is having such a ball talking to you about all the nonsense things he's making up. And I'm having such a blast because I've never seen anybody war hoax like this guy.
It was great. But anyway, the steam and the fog shielded things so we could get the wounded people out. But we were losing people. We lost about 5 or 6 people then, right that time, you know, just that one supposed attack. We were stuck like that the next 4 or 5 days, you know. They would bring up tanks, and the tanks would spray the whole area with, we would send another one of our guys who was experienced, you know.
He can't even fill in the blanks because he's just making stuff up as he goes along. The tank sprayed things, and he's so disjointed. As this goes on, you'll just enjoy this so much because this guy is just so full of absolute nonsense.
I'd been in the Raiders. He was a corporal named Anthony. He would go get aboard the tanks and try to point out to the tankers just where he spotted the things that were firing at us, but they couldn't see them. And of course, the Japanese would just go underground, and when the tanks were there, they have flat trajectory and they can't fire mortars. So unless you get a direct hit on the thing, you can't wipe it out. The Japanese would come right up as soon as the tanks had left and fire at us again. So we were stuck there for about 4 or 5 days, you know. Everything had just sort of ground to a halt. And then the 5th day, which was March 7th, I guess the 4th day, March 7th, I got word during the night that Colonel Pollitt, who had the platoon on our right, who replaced the one that had been pulled out, you know, replaced, he was going to make a dawn attack by surprise and with no artillery bombardment, hope to get the Japanese off guard. So we should jump off just before dawn, you know, just at first light, and move forward and without a barrage, prepare time, and we would catch them. So we passed the word. We had to pass the word from foxhole to foxhole, and sure enough, at dawn we get up and we move out of our holes, you know, into this rough country just ahead of us, where all this heavy fire had been coming from. I'm moving with the guys, and we get the very first line of hills, and one of the what happened was that one of our guys spotted a Japanese who was supposed to be a sentry, was sitting there asleep, you know, with his just sitting there like this with his head in his lap.
He was asleep at the wheel. Maybe he had too much sake. This is hilarious. This is supposed to be an actual testimonial about Iwo Jima. Look at the smile. The Japanese guy was asleep.
Supposed to be watched. The other guys were all underground. Well, he shot this guy, and of course that set off. You know.
He shot this guy. Why would you want to shoot a guy who's sound asleep? Leave him alone. Just let him sleep.
For the Japanese. So they all come running up out of their cave, you know, out of the... they all
were in caves. Like they were bears.
Big cave they were in. We figured out there were 2 embrasures. We figured this out pretty quick because there were Japanese coming out of both ends of the cave. And we were right amongst them. The remnants of the platoon were there, you know. And I was at the front end of I went back and forth between my 2 units, you know. We had 2 units ready fighting that couldn't see each other, but were very close together.
We couldn't see each other, but we're very close together. I'm sorry, I'm getting a real jaw. I'm just really, I can't contain myself. This guy is so full of wind, and it's beyond belief. They actually filmed this guy as an actual Iwo Jima man who fought the Japanese.
And I remember Sisk, the big fella from Indiana, was in charge of one, and he was up hard by the cave, you know. By that time, they had killed a lot of Japanese just outside the cave. They shot them and killed them with grenades. He was right up near the cave's opening, and he was throwing grenades into the cave, and every so one time a great big piece of what I know now was liver came out and just landed at my feet. And Sis said, we're really getting at it. We're really getting him now. It was a piece of Japanese liver. And then the flamethrower came up.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? A piece of Japanese liver came out. This is so good. I'm going to take it all the way through. So this is the end of part 2 of this man's interview. Again, if you listen to what he says, you'll be absolutely convinced that nothing happened on Iwo Jima except maybe some people made a film. End of part 2.